All right. Welcome to Bark Banter. It has been a minute.
Hmm.
Hopefully, you guys caught us on Kevin's podcast, and we're back now because life is crazy.
Yeah, we just
Um,
had a really big break, I feel like.
yeah, which is fine. Everybody does it, especially when this is not your main source of income. So
That's fair.
it is what it is. All right. So I have multiple dogs behind me. So if there are noises, that's what it's from. Obviously, you can see the shepherd in the background. So today's drama, Macey. We were supposed to do this a week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so we're like a week or so behind on drama,
Yeah.
but that's okay because more information kind of came out to not necessarily clarify anything, but would definitely gives like a better insight on the situation.
Yep.
So, I don't know if a lot of people know about this. So I learned about it from I think Facebook. I think that's where I learned about it. And it
Mhm.
was just like a news like broadcast like put out there. Like it wasn't anybody else sharing anything. It came directly from a news clip. Um, Basically, what it was is unfortunately a man was killed by his dogs, pit bulls to be exact, and this
Wait,
happened
wait,
what.
wait. Before you say pit bulls, can we just say that in the United States, pit bull is a type of
Mhm.
dog and not a breed? Pit bull is like saying I have a herding dog.
Yeah, like pit bull is a very general term, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. It's not necessarily a breed, but we can get into that another day. I feel like.
Yeah. But I just want to put it out there because there are a lot of people who say like if you say pit bull, you have to mean American pit bull terrier, which as much as I would
Mm-hmm.
want that to be true, that is not how it works in America. That's not what we do here. We change all the names of everything and
Mm-hmm.
now pit bull is just a generic term for a dog who has a big head and I mean that's basically it
Pretty
as far
much,
as
like big head,
everything
muscular
goes.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, like, and that's I think another thing that's gonna end up putting like negative connotation out there for the pit bull types,
Mhm.
because like the news, like they couldn't tell you exactly what type of breed those dogs were, like from their aerial vision of them trying to
Yep.
round them up, like you couldn't necessarily tell like that was a Staffordshire Terrier or a XL Bully
Yeah.
or like all the, so they just used pit bull.
Mhm.
And a lot of people out there, they're just like, oh my god, it's a pit bull,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
just, anyways. um but so I mean, as far as like the drama behind it all, basically this guy was unfortunately mauled by his dogs. I'm pretty sure they had cameras on the property,
Yes.
and they were able to tell exactly what happened. The most, I don't know if you looked more into it, the most of what I heard whenever I brought it up, um, was that there was an altercation between the dogs, and I think he tried to step in, and they just redirected.
Yeah, he was out
Um,
there feeding the dogs and they started fighting, I guess. And yeah, he tried to step in and he got bit.
yeah, and for people that are just pet parents and not dog trainers, um, like think about like, I don't know, I feel like kids when they're fighting and somebody blacks out and they're just start throwing punches and they end up accidentally hitting somebody that's trying to break up the fight. That's kind of what redirection is whenever a dog is so in the moment and they think another dog's grabbing them and they turn around and they just grab and rip. You know,
Hmm.
like they don't necessarily always mean to bite that person that's trying to break up the dog fight. Maybe because he had so many of these. I think he had like 15 on
I
property.
think they said 13,
13. It was
5 adult dogs
past,
and puppies.
yeah, it was past like 10.
Yeah, it
um
was more uh than a small amount.
yeah. So I mean, what could have possibly happened is, sometimes some dogs, if they feel protective about like another one of their pack members, they will like get into the fight and also try to break it up, but in turn they're still using their mouth because that's all they have.
Yep.
So I mean, this guy could have just wrong place, wrong time, trying to break him a fight, and these dogs are big and strong, It was definitely a more unfortunate event. I guess as far as like drama, because that's just an unfortunate like accident, freak accident that happened. I don't think that's necessarily drama that we usually talk about. But what I'm worried about that will come from this is the word pit bull and attack. Or mauled, used, especially with all the pit bull bans going on in the UK. And then I think, isn't there like other countries that like pitties or pit bull breeds
Australia.
or blocky? Australia?
Yep.
Cool. I didn't know that, but I just knew like other places like they have bans on breeds out there as well, which I think is preposterous in my opinion. But like I said, that's like my fear coming from this, because us in America, a lot of people are supporting the people in UK that are like, you can't bully my breed and don't ban the pit bulls and things like that.
Yep.
But the UK government's gonna look over here and be like, oh yeah, you want to support them, but like look what y'all got going on.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. It's a whole bad situation. And I did look into this because I love a good bully breed, mixed dog, whatever you want to call them. I love big, bulky headed, muscular dogs. They're pretty much one of my favorite breeds, or breed types, I guess I should say. They're not really a breed, but yeah, it looks bad on the entire thing in general. It's just like all the stereotypes that they have already, which is these dogs maul people and that they're dangerous and they shouldn't be around, and we should cull all the dogs that are like this. And that it's so sad because we created these dogs. Like, humans created these dogs and now we just want to get rid of them. Which is sad. And part of the thing with that is like, even with the XL bullies and like stuff like that we're creating, we are mixing like American Staffordshire Terriers, Pit Bull Terriers with things like Mastiffs. And Mastiffs are guardian breeds. And Pit Bulls, American Pit Bull Terriers, American Staffordshire Terriers, those kind of dogs are actually not supposed to be aggressive towards people. Like, at all. They were bred to fight dogs, and that is real. They were bred to fight other dogs, and that is something that you can't get rid of no matter what kind of person you are. Like, they were bred to fight dogs. Not all of them will fight dogs at this point. Obviously, we're not still breeding dogs to fight other dogs. But they should not be aggressive towards people. But then we mix them with things like Mastiffs. And Mastiffs are guardian breeds.
They're suspicious of strangers for sure.
Exactly. And so it changes the whole like makeup in their brain, and it can break certain things. I mean, I've seen other specific kind of like mixed breed dogs that we should not have bred these two specific things together. Like Huskies and German Shepherds, it's like the weirdest. They are, some of them are great and some of them are terrible.
And that's I got a call this week about a husky. Oh no, I'm sorry, a pit bull and Malinois mix.
Oh, why would you do that?
It was an accident.
Why? They do it on purpose, though.
That is true.
People do it on purpose.
This one was definitely an accident. Somebody wasn't watching their dog. They got out, things like that.
Anyways, so back to the subject at hand. This really does kind of mess everything up for the people who are trying to like get rid of the bully bans and any kind of breed specific legislation at all. But I did look into some of the specifics of this thing. I'm not going to talk badly about the dead. I am going to say I can't find any sort of breeder's license. I can't find any sort of business name under this guy's thing. And I looked on Craigslist, and pit bull puppies go for about $200 a piece. So
Mm-hmm.
they are mass bred without thought for temperament or any sort of health, anything like that. And so I just want to say, like, this is happening with all of the breeds,
Mm-hmm.
not just this one specific breed type. There are mass produced golden retrievers that are out there biting people. There are mass produced German Shepherds that I get all the time. I don't know if you do,
Oh,
that are
all the
out there
time.
biting people.
Somebody just told me they were given a German Shepherd puppy for their child for a service dog, and I was like, let's hope it's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Because yeah. And this, by the way, does go into what we're going to talk about today.
It does actually.
Yes. Picking and raising your puppy for the first year.
Yep. I don't know if we're going to be able to get all the way to the first year, but
that's okay. We can break this one up.
We always say that, then we never
We
go
always.
back.
You know what? Hey, guys, if you want us to continue on and learn more about a particular subject, all you gotta do is comment. You know,
That's
comment
real.
below, like, hey, where's part 2? I want more info on this. Like, you know, engage with us, and we'll give you what you engage for.
It's true. It's true. We're here for you.
But anyways, so, but yeah, so I mean, all these mass-produced puppies in different breeds. It's not just pit bulls, or quote quote pit bulls. It's not just bullies. It's German Shepherds are being mass-produced. Malinois are being mass-produced after they got. Yeah. They're like the new cake on the block everybody wants. Yeah. You know, I haven't seen too many badly bred Goldens down here, but that's because everybody does, like, if they get a Golden or a Lab down here, it's a working dog. Yeah. So those are a little bit more particular. I will say that. I don't know what you're seeing up where you're at.
I see a lot of badly bred Goldens. Badly bred. See, the latest one I saw was a badly bred Yorkie.
Those are always badly bred.
I don't agree with that, but okay.
No? So
I don't think all Yorkies are badly bred.
I've never found a Yorkie breeder that's not a backyard breeder down here. But with that being said, yeah, so I mean, the other one that I do see a lot, though, I see everybody mixes everything with a Lab.
That's true.
And, like, I get it if it's, like, bred with a purpose, like my Labradoodles that I bred last year. You know, like, you can come at me all you want and say, like, oh my god, she's mixing dogs, and then talking bad about mixing dogs. No. What I care about, though, is that people don't care what they're breeding. Yeah. Yeah. Like, they're like, oh, my dog's perfect, so I'm just going to find the next stud available so I can get a puppy off of her. Like, bro, that's not how that works. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, Rotties. I used to love a good Rottie. I used to love Rottweilers. I used to love getting them. Not anymore. Yeah. Rotties are probably one of the it's very few that I get down here, but usually when I do, they're not very, very well bred. Cane Corsos.
Cane Corsos. I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
We've Cane Corsos is Corsos up here.
Well, Corsos are the new Rotties. Corsos just got really popular in the last 5 years, and Rotties, like, their popularity kind of dwindled a little bit.
Also, hold on. Somebody is going to come at us. It's Cane Corso. Yes, we know.
Cane Corso.
But we're kind of trash people, so we're just going to call them Cane Corsos like everybody else.
Cane Corsos. Yes, I would definitely try to. I always mess that up saying that, for sure. And it's just because the general public calls it Cane Corso, so I'm just like, yeah, Cane Corso. But when I say Kanye Corso, everybody's like, what's that? Yeah. Like, it's the same thing. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, like, for example, there was a guy, like, 2 weeks ago just selling Kanye Corsos out of the back of his truck at a Walmart. Yep. Like, obviously, that's not a good breeder. That's a backyard breeder. That's how we find backyard breeders. They're selling puppies at the back of their vehicle. Like... and I think they were like $500. You know, price does that when you're picking your puppies. Like, the more expensive it is, give or take, find a good breeder. People will take advantage of this. But I have found that the more expensive that my dog typically is, it's like a buy once, cry once situation. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have to spend a ton of money on health. I don't have to spend a ton of money on behavior. Yep. Like, all these different things. Like, if I'm buying a really, really good bloodline, all those natural behaviors that you want from that bloodline kind of comes with it. Mm-hmm. Now, for the people out there who are all about, like, rescuing dogs, cool. We need people like you. That's awesome. Don't hate people that want to buy a specific breed. Some people like knowing what they're getting, and not everybody likes the jack in the box of, like, not knowing what is in the box kind of thing.
If anybody ever wants us to talk about, like, rescue and that kind of thing, we will do it. Mm-hmm. I have some big feelings about rescue.
So do I. Like, I think that's something. I think that's something that a lot of trainers have big feelings about is rescue work, and the reason why is because we all been burned by a rescue. Is why. Yeah.
But we'll get into it in a different episode if you guys want it. I don't want to just, like, blow up on rescues today. And also, like, if you really want to watch people blow up on rescues, go on TikTok. Like,
for sure. TikTok's the worst about blowing up on things like that. For sure.
Well, you've got the people blowing up on rescues, and then you've got the rescues blowing up on their adopters, and you've got both.
And then the breeders are like,
yeah, and then you've got the breeders coming in there. Oh my god, it's insane.
I feel like every post searching for a puppy, I see adopt, don't shop. Yeah. Like, okay, well, for children, you have to pay a significant amount of money to adopt a child that's not yours. Yeah. What's the difference with a dog?
I mean, you're still buying a dog either way.
Yeah. So you still have to pay money.
And you should shop. You should shop for a dog. That's where let's get into this. You should shop for a dog. You should go shopping for a dog if you decide that you want one, because you need to look at all of the things for your dog.
Research. So, my thing is, if you are an older couple that you are trying to live the retired life of not being very active, good for you. Don't go get a working breed. Go get a little easygoing couch potato, okay? Don't go get an Australian Shepherd because they're beautiful. Don't go get a working lab. Maybe an English lab. I think they're real chill. You could probably go well with that.
They can be. Yes. Get an older dog for sure.
Yeah, get an older dog. Well, I don't want it to die on me.
Don't get a puppy.
It's fine. You don't want to raise a puppy right now, I promise. You know, and then have to wait for it to quote calm down, but then take a chance that it's never going to calm down and be able to, so what's going to happen, and we deal with this all the time, that dog's never going to get to your level and your lifestyle. You have to change your lifestyle to match the dog to be able to live in harmony. And a lot of people don't want to do that. Okay? So if you want a very relaxed retirement and a dog who just wants to chill with you, don't get any type of working breed. Yeah. At all. Like, don't be like, oh, well, I grew up with this breed. Get a different one. Because if that's not the lifestyle you want to lead right now, don't get it.
Don't get a doodle.
Yeah, don't get a doodle. They are meant for the people in their 20s that are living life and doing all the things. They are not meant for somebody that is trying to retire and just be chill and not go anywhere. That is a dog who needs a very active lifestyle.
Yep.
But anyways, back to this though. Yeah, picking the right puppy. You know, if we're talking about breeders, you know, think about your lifestyle. If you want to go hiking, if you want to go bike touring, if you want to go, you know, do all the fun things, if you want to get into the competition dog handler lifestyle, get you a high energy dog. Do your research. If you don't want something bitey, maybe don't get a Malinois, because that seems to be everybody's handler go-to, because they are technically user-friendly if you know what you're doing, but they are bitey. They're bred for bite work. Maybe try to get something else that's not bred for bite work entirely. You know, I do find, I don't know about you, but I find Dobermans are a lot chiller in the bite work room.
I love Dobermans. I love good Dobermans.
I feel like they're like medium. Like they can have a lot of drive if you really build it, but like they're so comfortable for lazy days.
Yeah.
But your Malinois
They're
gonna
like chiller
hate you.
Malinois.
Yeah, like your Malinois is gonna hate you on lazy days. Like he's gonna be like, "Nah, bitch, get up, let's go." Sick days, forget sick days. I literally have to go put my Malinois in the kennel, give them all of the mental stimulation things, like here, what we're gonna do today while I'm sick. You're gonna go do your licky mat. You're gonna go do your Kong. You're gonna do all the things, and then I'm gonna tell my kennel tech, go take her running, please, because I cannot. So like, don't get a Malinois if you wanna have an active sport lifestyle, but you don't want the bitey hyperactive dog. Get something like a Doberman, very well bred Doberman. Don't go get a backyard bred dog.
A German Shepherd. Good.
They are.
Well-bred German Shepherds can take days off.
Yeah, you're right. Like they are so, like they can be chill. I will say, however, I don't know about you. I think you do know this. Like they're a little bit more vocal. They or Velcro dogs. They definitely like to be all like with their person all the time. And I do find a lot of them deal with separation anxiety a lot more than other dogs. I don't know about you.
Mine does not deal with separation anxiety. He is
well, you know what you're doing.
Loud. He is loud when he has feelings about things. That is real, but any high drive dog tends to be some sort of something when it comes to feelings. Most of them go towards loud, I would say.
Yeah. And like I know like everybody says research the breed before you get it. Well, okay, what does that mean? That means read online, but don't read the breed description because that's a very general term. Like don't do that. Go get on some different Facebook sites for a particular breed, ask some questions. They're going to tell you all their horror stories and all their good stories and how much they love their puppy. Okay? Go either get you a friend, go make a friend that you can go hang out with their dogs, but then do that a few times with a few different dogs because there are some, again, breed, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what I'm saying. Breed standard is very relative. Like, we might have one Australian Shepherd that is super, super smart, super, super catty, and, like, still go, when I say catty, I'm sorry, I'm bringing out my horse terms. The herding, their drive for herding is there. But then we also have, like, Australian Shepherds like mine, who is kind of neurotic, super sweet, super clingy. She can chill out and have chill days, but the second we do anything remotely exciting, she spins. And I'm like, bro, stop spinning, please. Yes. Oh, going out to potty, yeah, like definitely. She just does the spins constantly, and I'm like, please heal. Or she'll. I'm like,
that's
okay,
what
stop.
Tom Lilith makes.
Yeah, well, my Aussie does that. Okay. But super smart dogs can learn any trick you give them. Yep. You know, if you want to be that person that's like, I want to learn all the cool things I see on TikTok, like all the crazy stuff you would never use a day in your life with your dog, other than to be like, hey, watch what my dog can do, or like the AKC trials, you know, like different things like that. Get you a dog that's super, super smart. That also means that dog can outsmart you if you don't want to put the training into it. So your Border Collies, I can't tell you how many times I've had Border Collies come in and they're like, he's not listening, he's stupid. No, that dog's just outsmarting you and making you work for them.
Yeah, smart dogs are almost always the ones that end up in training. We almost exclusively deal with incredibly smart dogs.
Yeah, because dumb dogs, you tell them one thing and they're like, okay, I never do that again.
They're fine with it. They're fine to do it. Smart dogs, they will find your loopholes. They will find every single thing that you did not say or every single thing that you didn't tell them not to do, and they're going to do it. So yes, having a smart dog is a great, wonderful thing if you're willing to put the work in.
If
If
you're
you are
not,
not, get a dumb dog.
mm-hmm.
Get and like no dogs are dumb. Like that's ridiculous, but like get a dumber dog.
Yeah,
Get a not as smart dog. Like get a dog who is happy to just like either do what you
exist.
say or yeah, just hang out.
Yeah, that's kind of where I think labs come from. Like, labs are very derpy, and you do something, they're like, I'm so happy.
I didn't
Like,
say it, you said it.
I mean, well, they're gonna ask like, "What's a dumb dog?" And I'm like, labs are kind of dumb in a good way.
Generally.
Like, they're smart. They're smart. People would be like, "That's the smartest dog I've ever had," because he's user friendly, huh?
Yeah,
because you told him once. Because you told him once, and he was like, "Okay, this is my life."
Yeah.
That's why.
Like, I would say they're more people oriented than some of the other ones. Basset hounds actually generally tend to just be like go along to get along dogs.
Yeah, I find that a lot of hound dogs are kind of like that.
Not
they are
beagles.
A little hard. You're right. Beagles are very big, but that's the thing though. Beagles, you see them a lot doing tricks.
Yeah, beagles will do tricks, and they will also get super duper bored, and they're gonna leave.
Yeah,
they don't care if you said come 25 times. You didn't do something with them, and they're gone. You're not giving them what they need, and they're gone.
You're boring.
Like, you're boring.
You're boring. So, I mean, yeah. So, if you want a super duper easy life, get something like a lab. Small dogs, I feel like Dachshund, like a really well-bred Dachshund's kind of like that.
Dachshunds.
Yeah. I love Dachshunds. We get a lot of little weenie dogs out here. I love them. If they're not bred right and they're from a backyard breeder.
Well-bred Shih Tzus are awesome.
I've loved every single one of them I've put into my group.
Yeah.
Like, into my training program, every single Shih Tzu we ever had. I loved it.
Well-bred Shih Tzus are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Also, and Macey will disagree with me, but well-bred Chihuahuas are also super cool.
I don't disagree with you. So, I have gotten okay, so a little backstory for everybody. When I was a child, I was severely attacked by a very big Chihuahua. And it ruined my confidence with Chihuahuas probably up until like a few years ago, to be honest.
Anyways, let's talk about what should you look for to get a good breeder.
Yeah.
If you want a breeder. And then we'll go through just basic how to pick a puppy and what to look for in that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know about Skyler, but all of my dogs, I've never had a rescue dog, to be honest. Besides, like, when I was younger, like, I picked up strays and I've rescued dogs and rehomed them. But all of my personal dogs I bought from a breeder. Just because, like, each dog I got, I've had a specific goal in mind that I wanted. And that's something that's really hard to find specifically in the rescue era, especially when you don't know what the background of that dog is entirely. You don't know what it's mixed with, those things. So my first thing that I look for is decent reviews. Like, is this an actual business? What has people's experience been with this breeder? When I was picking my Malinois breeder, that's exactly what I went for. Like, I didn't just go find a breeder. I dug. Because I knew I did not want to get stuck with it was my first Malinois. I wanted a breeder to help me. Like, I did not want to get stuck with some crazy, uncontrollable dog. Especially because it was my first one. Like, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So as far as, like, breeding goes, like, I care about bloodlines. I don't know about what most people, like, that one's kind of hit and miss. I feel like some people don't really care about bloodlines. But if you care about bloodlines, get familiar with the what a certification from, like, AKC, UKC, CKC is kind of but, you know, like, all of those registries, get familiar with what that pedigree looks like. Some different things you can look for is if they actually did get like OFA tested, PinHip tested, and these are genetic things that you look for. Like, these are things that they went and got health tested, and not just to their basic vet. Like, they had to go pay for, like, x-rays and get those x-rays, like, specifically stared at and angled up, and all the details to figure out exactly to make sure that the dog is healthy hip-wise and orthopedic. Is that the right word? Orthopedic-wise? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're like, once they do that, the vet takes their information and will send it to your registry, and that is put on your pedigree, so you can see every family member that that dog is descended from, what their hip score is, to make sure that you're not going to get something that has like hip dysplasia, early on arthritis, you know, things like that. Or and the way that it usually looks like is like, it will say like great, good, okay, and bad, I think. Like real basic terms. I would probably say you want to stay in like the upper green level of that, like you're good and great. So you don't, like, okay is basically like it could be better, but I don't see hip dysplasia kind of thing.
Yeah.
But to me, that's like, is that dog going to break down by the time that he's 9? You know, do I have to worry about that dog not being able to walk properly at 9 years old? Because 9, a lot of people think 9's old. 9 is like ripe elderly age. Like, that's not like most dogs, like they're not gonna die at 9. Most dogs, like most breeds live to like what, 16? So you still have like almost 5 to like 8 more years left of your dog. But if your dog's hips and elbows are breaking down, then you have to care for that and mitigate that and give them special treatment the rest of those very long years of their life, you know? So I mean, like, that's something to look for. Other thing to look for is if you are wanting a very specific dog that is capable of, a lot of people are like capable of like certain behaviors.
So say they want their dog to do agility. So what you're going to want to look at is the parents, the grandparents, whatever lineage you can get of that dog. Number one, you want their parents or grandparents to have done something similar.
Yeah.
So that definitely. You know that they can actually do it. You want them to have good joints. You want to know that mom, dad, grandma, grandpa did not end up with early onset arthritis or anything like that. You want to know that these dogs come from like a good, healthy place if you're planning on doing something big with your dog. And that includes hiking. A lot of people adopt a dog thinking that they're just going to go hiking with this dog, not thinking about the fact that this dog probably has really terrible joints, or this dog, like, and if you adopt a dog, you don't know these things about their like parents and their lineage and stuff like that. And that's fine. But still think about like breeds and maybe like having your dog examined before you decide to take them hiking and stuff like that. Because if you're not thinking about like their joints and you want to go hiking or you want to go running or you want to do things that like normal people do with their dogs, your dog has to be in shape to do that.
Yeah. Or if you just do it anyways and you don't really check into that, like, and you do this lifestyle with them that does do a lot of things and does work those joints, your dog's going to break down a lot earlier than what it would have if you would have known the background and just know what your dog was capable of health-wise, you know?
Even the Embark DNA tests do stuff now. Like, they will tell you, like, likelihood of certain things. And it can really help. So, like, eyes, heart, joints, hip dysplasia, like, most of these things are genetic.
Yep.
And so if you get, even if you adopt a dog from a shelter, and that's not a bad thing, but, like, get some of these things done so you know what to expect.
Now, back to breeders and picking the right breeder. If your breeder tells you that hip dysplasia is not genetic, turn and run. Turn and run. 100. Go the other way. Like, yes, it can be. I feel like there is, like, there's a possibility that it could be environmental if you're not taking care of your puppy's joints and making sure they're not jumping up and down. But there's definitely evidence out there that it is hereditary.
Yep.
especially when like puppies early on, like 6 months old, barely had a life or breaking down with hip dysplasia. So that's something to definitely look for. As far as like pedigrees go, the other thing that I think a lot of people don't really look at because they're like, oh, I don't plan on doing sports with my dog, so therefore they don't think they need that, like from that bloodline that titles out in so and so sport.
Right.
But the thing is, at least if you go with a dog that has a lot of titles in their background and they do multiple different things to win those titles, how far along in those titles they went, guess what? You know for a fact the puppy you got is very trainable.
That's what I was gonna say. Your dog is trainable.
Yes.
Yep, for sure.
If you go with a dog that like, or a bloodline that doesn't have all these things, a lot of people end up with a dog who's very hard to train. And even if that's not the case, they don't know what that dog's capable of. Next thing that I wanted to talk about is make sure that you can go and see this breeder, see their dogs, meet both the parents. I mean, at least meet one of the parents.
I was gonna say you can't always meet both.
Yeah, like my puppies, I don't own the dad. The dad's all the way in like Mississippi.
Yeah, sperm donors, but
yeah, but even then, if you can go and even meet like the siblings of that, because a lot of breeders will keep like puppies back off of litters. If you can go and meet like whatever puppies and everything that they have on property, and when I say on property, I mean go to on property, because like any breeder that is confident in what they're doing is not going to feel some type of way about you being on their personal property, or at least where they hold their dogs and seeing their facility. If a breeder's like, oh no, I'll meet you 50 miles out, or I'll meet you halfway, like, don't get me wrong, I've gotten some nice dogs like that, haven't had an issue. However, now that I am more educated, I get so sketched out whenever a breeder's like not comfortable with me meeting their dogs, seeing their facilities, because cleanliness is a big thing. You know, like if your puppies are not growing up in a clean environment, well, guess what? Your potty training is gonna start out rough, bro. But I mean, not even just that, like that they're actually they're not just taking care of the puppies. They're actually,
and how many puppies are on property?
Yeah,
how many litters are on property? Because I distinctly remember at some point in my childhood, we went to pick up a puppy, and they must have had 6 litters on the property.
So, from somebody who's raised puppies, it's a lot of work. I never want to have 2 litters. I've had 2 litters back to back once, and I'm like, never again. Never.
That sounds awful.
It was horrible. That was the year before I went to Highland K9. I had Australian Shepherds, and then I had Labs.
Yeah,
not fun. But yes. So I mean, like, you know, talking about, you know, puppy mills, making sure you're not accidentally getting a puppy mill dog, because guess what? Breeders of puppy mills will take really good care of their puppies, but their parent dogs and how those dogs live, that's not it. You know, like they won't. You know, they'll lie to you. Yeah. But I mean, that's another thing to, and everybody's like, oh, but then I get there and I want to rescue the puppies. Okay, cool. Threaten to call the freaking, you know, authorities, because I guarantee, unless you're in Louisiana, that your animal right activist would definitely help somebody that wasn't breeding dogs appropriately, or boarding dogs. If it's nasty environments, if they have too many dogs on property, if they're not following, like in Colorado, I think so. Well, like
you can't do it. Like we have legislation like that doesn't keep people from doing it, but can get them shut down if they are doing it. Exactly. So people still do messed up stuff as far as breeding and puppies go, but
yeah, out here they would just come out. They would come out and be like, "Hey, clean it up. Make sure they have fresh food and water." Yep. Literally all they would tell us. Yep. They wouldn't. I think there was story time. My stepmom and my biological dad used to live next to like this animal hoarder, and every morning he would shovel like pounds of shit out his back door when he was letting dogs out and rotating dogs.
Oh my god.
And like he wasn't breeding on purpose, but he wasn't taking care of like the males and females separate from each other. And he was basically, in his words, running his own shelter, a private shelter. And he would try to talk to me about like, he was a crazy old man, and try to talk to me about like adopting his dogs out and training his dogs. And I was like, your house and you do not smell good. No, thank you.
You smell.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough thing. I don't think he ever got, like, people complained about him, obviously. I don't think anything ever came from it, but I do think he downsized. I think he asked for help finally.
That's good.
But I think he started back up again because he would just see dogs on the side of the road and pick them up.
Which, I mean, I understand the sentiment. Like, that's a good heart, but that's also like that you get real overwhelmed really fast doing that.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, so I mean, picking the right breeder, like I said, I see the puppies, check the bloodlines, you know, things like that. And that's, I don't know, do you have any other advice for picking the right dog? You've had 2 really good picks, I know that.
Picking a good dog from a breeder, I think, has to do a lot with talking to the breeder.
Yeah, building a rapport. Like, I talked to my breeder for my newest puppy for almost a year before I actually ever got Ami.
They know generally what they're doing, and if you tell them what your lifestyle is, what you're looking for in a dog, what you plan on doing with this dog, they can actually help you pick that puppy.
Yeah, so Ami, my first Shiba, she was like, since it's your first one, I would rather pick your dog for you. And I was like, absolutely, that's fine. Yeah. And honestly, that was such a green flag. And I'm like, yeah, you know this breed more than I do. I've never even trained this breed before Josh wanted one. So I was like, I don't know what I need. I don't know what type of personality I need. I don't know. And so she picked Ami out for me. Same thing with Rival. I kind of had like choice between 2 of them, but whenever I told her it was like my first Malinois, she was like, okay, I don't recommend this guy. He's very bitey. He's more like police canine level dog. But this one, it could possibly be a pet. And when you know Rye, she's quite Rye. Literally the best Malinois for a household ever. She can have some lazy days sometimes, but she's chill. But she has a very quick on switch, bro. Like, if I'm doing PSA with her and she knows when we're working, she wants to bite something, but would she do it normally? No. I love her. She's great for me to learn with. But I mean, to me, that's the perfect sign of like picking the right breeder and have them pick your puppy. Have them pick your puppy, because they will never, like, if it's a really good breeder, they're not going to do you wrong. Oh my God.
Sorry. Yeah. So be super like in contact with your breeder. Don't be afraid to ask any questions that you have about anything. It really doesn't matter what it is. And that should go on basically at least for the first year of the dog. Usually breeders are more than welcome to like answer your questions about things.
Yeah, like I just got in touch with Ami's breeder the other day. I couldn't find somebody. Like, I don't have time to show her. I wanted a show quality dog. I paid for a show quality dog.
Yep.
And I was like, I've reached out to people and nobody wants to show her for me. So she's going to try and help me find somebody.
Yeah. And that's
good breeder.
A good breeder will help you find somebody to show your dog if that's something you're interested in. I have had breeders reach out to me about dogs that they have adopted out that need training. Which I think is phenomenal. Like, I've had breeders be like, hey, I will pay for the evaluation. Like, I need to know what's going on with this dog because I bred it, because they feel responsible for this dog. And that's huge green flag right there. That's amazing.
Yeah. For all the younger trainers out there that are trying to get your foot in, build a rapport with some good breeders.
Good breeders.
Don't just build rapport with any breeder. Find a good breeder. Learn from the good breeder. Yeah. And some of them will require, really good breeders, green flag, will require that any puppy that goes to a home will go and get training.
Yep.
Like, so I mean, if you can build a really good rapport with that breeder, that's gonna be great. Like, I was looking for a Schnauzer puppy for my mom just now, and I think I built a little bit better of a rapport with her because she was like, that dog's gonna be so trained, and I know he's going to a good home. Like, she knows what I can do. So more than likely, with her being able to see what I can do, because I post my stuff all the time, she's going to send all the puppies that she just had to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Have a good conversation with any breeder that you're looking to do anything with. So it used to be that you always had to be on a waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the case always anymore. Um, just due to the economy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so with Lucifer's breeder specifically, like my first question was like, because he's a German Shepherd, I asked, hey, number one, did you meet Dad? Because
Mm-hmm.
Dad was a sperm donor, and she said, yeah, we actually took her over there. I think he's from Wyoming. Took her over there to meet him. They got along. It was good. He has a really great temperament. And because for me, having a German Shepherd who has a good temperament and can be good with people was really important.
That's hard.
And
That's a
that's
that's
a
hard.
big thing. So like when I reached out to his breeder, I legit did not expect to get like a puppy from the litter that I got one from. I just happened to be really lucky
Mm-hmm.
that he has a heart defect. And that's like what? But I got really lucky that he has a heart defect because I said, well, I would really like a male, and she said, well, the only puppy I have left is a male. She said, but he's got a heart murmur, and I wasn't planning on selling it
Mm-hmm.
because he's got a heart murmur because he's defective. Um, and I said, that's fine. I like here's who I am, here's what I do, here's what kind of life he'll have, kind of thing. And she was like, yeah, okay, you can like come out and meet him. So yeah, number one, she was completely upfront about the fact that this puppy had a heart defect, and she told me exactly what I needed to do to get this checked out
Mm-hmm.
because she'd already talked to her vet, and like she already knew that he needed to get an echo and he needed to get it at 6 months and like all of these things. She even gave me a clause that like if he died, I would get a new puppy
Mm-hmm.
because we knew he's defective. He's a broken puppy. I did get him an echo in case anybody is interested, and he can live a perfectly healthy and active life, and he's fine. He does have a heart murmur and will for the rest of his life, but it was not genetic. It is a malformation that
Wonderful.
happened.
Yeah, and for anybody out there, like Skyler does all kinds of things with this dog, and
Oh
that's
my God.
something that if she didn't know about this, and let's say God forbid it was the other way, and the dog couldn't live a happy and healthy life, she wouldn't have a dog to this day.
Yep.
Or in the next few years. So I mean, again, making sure that you follow up on all these things when you do get your dog to make sure they can live the lifestyle that you want. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, another thing that's a green flag for me is health certificates. In a way, like health guarantees is what I'm trying to say. Like
Yep.
if my breeder's gonna guarantee like for the next 2 years this dog should not have any genetic defects and should be absolutely happy and healthy. Mm-hmm. And if anything under this list of things that are common in this breed happens, I will reimburse you or give you a new puppy.
Yep.
So like to me, like that's a good green flag, you know, making sure that there's some type of health, you know, I just said the word. Dang it, I forgot. Guarantee, yes. Is important.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But yes, so, I mean, those are the things that I would consider that you need to do if you're going to be picking it from a really good breeder and stay away from your backyard breeders. Cheap doesn't always mean good. Don't do it.
No. Expensive doesn't always mean good.
That is true, but it is far more likely that if you go with a more expensive breeder, there's a reason why it's that price.
It depends. There's a lot of scammers out there, man.
There is a lot of scammers out there. We can talk about avoiding scammers in another one, I think.
Yeah, let's go through more or less like adopting a puppy real quick. We've only got a few more minutes, I think. But adopting a puppy from a rescue or a shelter.
Mm-hmm. So this one I feel like you can take the lead on because I feel like you might have more experience in. I've never actually, other than one, Lou, I've never actually adopted a dog from a shelter. I've just helped people do it, or I've done it for an organization, but not my personal dog.
Well, and my personal dogs, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing at the time in which I adopted any of them.
So what would you do different?
Well, and that's the thing. So, and based on my experience and based on the experience of all of my clients, the first thing I can tell you is make sure you meet the puppy, not just see a picture of it online. And in that meeting of the puppy, you need to take stock of certain things. Is that puppy friendly to you? If you have people that are living in your house, including children, you need to bring them with you to meet this puppy. Is that puppy friendly? Yeah, is that puppy friendly to those people in your house? Is it nipping at your children?
Is it scared? You know,
is it scared?
Is it shut down and
yeah, or is it out of control? Is it losing its mind? Is it barking nonstop? Is it being insane? Like, you need to take like stock of all of these things, and then if you possibly can, and I wish that like shelters and like rescues and stuff did this more often, if you possibly can, I want you to meet that dog again and see if it's the same. I want you to meet it in a different place.
A trial run. Don't just adopt that dog.
And most places don't let you do that either. Like, in a perfect world, here's what I'd say. I want you to meet that dog at least twice. Take stock of the way the dog is. Take stock of the way the dog interacts with the world and the way the dog interacts with you. And then have a trial period with that dog. Now, real world scenario, I am going to tell you, do not go to PetSmart, go to adoption events, and pick out a dog and take that dog home. Do not do it.
I got lucky.
Do not do it. I almost feel like people just should not adopt a dog the first time they meet it. It almost never goes well. You fall in love with the way the dog looks, and then
not the dog's actual personality.
And you don't know what you just got there. But in general, I would say I would like a puppy who is social, but not overly social. So I want it to interact with me, but I don't want it to bite my face.
In a fun, nipping, playful way.
Or not.
Either way. At all.
I want the puppy to interact with me. A little bit of nibbling is totally fine. That's what puppies do, depending on the breed. But I don't want this puppy to be like climbing up my pants, like with their teeth. I don't want this dog to immediately come up and bite me in the face. That's a red flag. So I want it to be social, but not terribly, like, overly social. And I want it to be environmentally okay. So if you drop your keys on the ground, it should startle and then go sniff your keys. If it doesn't startle, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Because this puppy might not.
Anything.
Well, it might not hear anything, or it might not be scared of anything, and you probably don't want that in your house.
That's a dog that's gonna challenge you and give you issues.
Yeah. So I want it to be environmentally like okay with the world. It can startle about things that it's like a little bit weird about, but then go and check them out. Like, I want that from a good puppy. And I want it to not be trembling in the corner. I know that everybody loves puppies, and that puppy that is trembling in the corner and looks terrified out of its mind is the one that everybody goes towards because they feel bad for it.
It's so sad. The dog needs to not. I don't even know where I'm going with this. That dog's not gonna do. You're gonna spend a lot of money on training.
You're either going to spend a lot of money on training, or that dog is literally just going to live in your house. So I guess if you're one of those people who never leaves their house, that is the dog for you. If you want a dog who wants to go out and do things and interact with your world, do not get the shivering puppy in the corner. Don't do it.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm a fan of trial errors if something will. But I think the reason why they don't do that anymore, a lot of them, is because they're not comfortable with the fact that, like, that dog more than likely is going to get sent back to them. A lot of shelters want it to be a one and done. Like, you adopted the dog, it's your dog, it's not our problem now. You know?
I'm fully aware because I get those calls every single day. I got one yesterday.
Really?
Poor girl adopted a dog. It is insane, apparently. I don't actually know. I haven't met the dog, but and then they said, "Nope, you took the dog. Best of luck to you. It's your fault. It's your problem." And that's happened a lot in my
Mhm.
experience as far as the dogs go. A lot of times people will reach out within the first 3 weeks of adopting a
Mhm.
dog if there are issues, and I tell them to give the dog back.
Yep.
It is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, so story time. Yeah, so the one that probably has reached out to me, I'm sorry, has touched me in the last, over the last few months of the last year.
Mm-hmm.
I had one particular dog who I evaluated twice in two different homes.
Yep.
And it's because he didn't show any signs of a behavioral issue according to them. He seemed perfect. In the shelter, and the shelter itself basically was like, yeah, nothing's wrong with him, he's amazing, you should take him home. And within the first 3 days the dogs bit a stranger at the first house. And when I say bit, it wasn't, I mean, a bite's a bite, but it definitely wasn't something that somebody reported.
Yep.
But after that, they, like, anybody who walked by, he was lunging at people on the street and everything. And they basically were like, yeah, so we want him to, I want to be able to go places with him. I'm like, that's not going to happen with this dog.
Yeah.
We can teach him to be not reactive, but this dog is not capable of handling new environments.
Nope.
Like, it's just not. So I think they tried it for a few weeks. She tried doing training for herself, but then she ended up sending him back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I got a call months later, go in, and as soon as I, like, see the dog, and I'm like, I've seen you before. Doing the same thing, and same thing. They had him for 3 days, and it was during, like, Christmas and New Year's and all those things. And he was like, yeah, he went absolutely apeshit, and we have a big busy family. We can't have that. And I'm like, well, then you might want to consider bringing this dog back, because,
yep,
like, I can show you how to mitigate the behavior and give boundaries and whatnot, but, like, this isn't going to be your ever social dog that could just handle your Sunday barbecues. Like, he was like that was like that type of family that, like, has tons of friends that comes over, and, like, just has a really busy, active lifestyle. He was like a teacher, so he's just a super social person. And I'm like, this isn't the dog for that, bro. Like, I'm sorry, but we can work on it, and we can make it to where you can live with this dog, but every time you have somebody over, more than likely you're going to have to go put this dog away.
Yep.
Or you're going to have to always be watching him and telling him what to do. You can't let him just make his own decisions. And the shelter, quite literally, whenever I was like, what'd the shelter say about, like, his history? And he was like, oh, he was returned. I think he was returned, like, 4 homes.
Yep.
And I only got called for 2. And they said that each time that it just didn't work out, or that the dog didn't like it there. Yep. Like, nope, that's a red flag. That dogs don't just not like it. So, that's a behavioral issue, and that dog needs training. And I did tell him that. I was like, this dog needs very extensive training, whether he goes back or not.
Yep.
And it was just, I think he was German Shepherd and Pit Bull, by the way.
That's a terrible breed mix, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't breed German Shepherds and Pit Bulls together. Nope. Sounds like a terrible idea.
For sure.
Anyways, there will be a part 2. We know for sure, because we're just going to record it right after this. So thank you for listening. This is Bark Banter. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok sometimes. You can email us at barkbanterpodcast@gmail.com. If anybody has emailed, I'm sorry, because I haven't really looked at that, but, you know, we'll see. And yeah, we appreciate you listening to us. I'm Skyler. You can find me at Redemption Dog Training LLC on Facebook and Instagram.
And I'm Macey, and you can find me on Facebook at BossDog K9 Dog Training. That's BossDog K9 Dog Training. And then my website is BossDogK9.com.
Yes. All right. Thank you, guys. And do we have any sort of sign off tonight?
I'll see you in 5 minutes.
I like it. All right.